Game number 1 already taken. Let's see if they can take game number 2 here. SK Gaming still trying to find their first win of the season. And actually, this is their final time because Friday is going to be all North America, right?
Friday is all NA, so this is their last chance of the summer split at least to try and find a win off of NRG. Yaman still not going to be playing here, so it's WhoDaBest in this set. And
the best is the mid laner for Splice, actually. That's WhoDaBest.
Those two should actually play against each other.
No, they shouldn't.
We should see what happens.
Yeah, you're saying that from your position. You didn't have to cast...
If he's with NRG.
You didn't have to cast Paul when he mained Freya and his support's name was Freya. You didn't have to deal with that.
I still remember that.
I don't want to see WhoDaBest play the best.
It's the good old console days, man, for Paul.
And God forbid aggro's on that cast. The dad jokes just won't stop. By the way, have you guys noticed that it's been a little bit more relaxed here at the studio?
I feel like it's been like awesome lately. You know, I've been feeling better. I think I became a millionaire during the time period that aggro is gone. I feel like my health has improved. I'm much more stress-free these days. I don't know. Maybe something's different, but...
Aggro's just been gone for a while. Maybe it's something there. I don't know. All I know is Mark Drew is oppressive. Hebo, the same thing. Hebo, the selection here for NRG's jungler, adapting most likely. I really don't expect to see it anywhere else, but inside of the jungle, Hebo has been really, really uncontrollable. And so here, pairing up with the Athena for NRG should be a good look. SK Gaming, Chang'e, Sylvanus, Rama.
Last game, since SK weren't first pick, they chose to actually ban away that Chang'e in that second ban of the first two. But with them being in the first pick selection, they go for the Chang'e, and I like this. But since they eliminated Thoth and Artemis, the Habois was such a strong response because not only does Habois have the burst damage to kill Chang'e before she has a chance to really participate in a team fight, but it's just adapting. Habois has been on fire.
Yeah, it's been out of control. I think Habois has been one of the better characters in the jungle. The idea that, oh, Hebo jungle is bad because you just punish it early, you don't get the chance to punish it early anymore, especially if you're able to pick the right selections around it. So Habois just really, really devastating. NRG making sure to ban out the Mercury and the Odin from the opposition. SK again focusing on the Chernobog and the Discordia.
I think that normally there's still some pretty heavy consequences that can occur against Habois players, but for a team like NRG that are so sound working amongst each other and adapting especially, he's so familiar with the jungle by now that his veteran experience over everything else is probably one of the primary reasons why this Habois tends to be so successful and why NRG can afford to select it. And even though other teams don't necessarily look to prioritize it at the moment, it's just that it's a hard pick to make work. But SK, this is the type of god that would really throw them for a loop because they've already been struggling enough as is with the regular stuff. So when you go a little bit more towards the unconventional side of things, it just brings in a whole new slew of problems.
The Habois for me is a character that you need to collapse on him with multiple characters. You can't just have one person go deal with the Hebo because you're going to get knocked up and knocked down. So you need multiple characters to kind of come out of position to deal with Hebo. And if you are not a good enough team to like stand on those legs without those people, I mean, it just becomes way too tough. So SK, tall order on their side. Chang'e, Sylvanus, Rama, Medusa, and Cabrakan. A mid to late game composition. Whereas across the way, NRG, they've got pretty much everything for every sort of moment. Hachiman, the do everything god. SK NRG, give me your percentage that SK take this game.
What do you mean, like what I think Mixer Chat's going to vote? Or?
No, I want to know, what is the percentage in Taco's mind that SK take this game?
I don't think negatives count.
Taco fried is the answer. NRG SK, game 2, could be the final one. Let's get into it.
Thanks a lot, casters. Casters.
Well, they are casters too.
They are casters too, and the way they were talking, it was like they were casting. So we'll find out how this one breaks down today. Obviously, SK Gaming, double hunter, 3 magical characters too, whereas a Hebo on the other side and a Raw. So exciting one.
I like to see adapting on Hobbo. I like to see adapting on hyper carry gods where he's capable of making these fancy highlight plays.
Yeah. Going to be an interesting one then. Who do you guys at home think will win? Taco can give a real verdict of how much he felt NRG would win by. You guys can, though. Game 1, I mean, 11% of you thought SK.
I think there's always going to be a small chance for SK Gaming to find some of these wins. The stars need to align a little bit for them. They need to find NRG at their most vulnerable form. And I think that if they collapse on adapting before level 5, find him in the jungle, maybe even go for like a level 1 speed buff invade, that could be the key to success.
Could go for some sneaky shenanigans indeed, but at the start of this one, we're not going to see too much of that. Just one ward placed down early on, actually, by NRG on this left-hand side. I do see that HalfDevil has the Oracle's Chalice, and he placed that one ward over the wall at the left-hand Harpies here, just to get a division there too. Obviously, NRG being a little bit aggressive, looking for a bit of a pick early on. Won't find one, though, as SK playing very safe.
NRG were grouped up not to be aggressive necessarily, but to allow emilZy to place those wards, to spot out any sort of early rotation from Faeles Cabrakan. Seeing that he also has Blink means that there's always that opening strat. It's like, okay, speed, turret, to level 2 gank in the dual lane is a serious threat. NRG need to be prepared for.
And the dual lane, as you were saying, yeah, HalfDevil, Funballer are going to have a lot of pressure here at the start. Athena and Hachiman, not the greatest at that level 1 clear, so we'll find out what happens here. Early poke trade. Going in Funballer's favor. He's top of the player damage for now. We'll see how long that stays that way. But minion waves on the way here. And the dual lane of SK has to be a little bit careful about the aggression. That could come out of the poke damage from those minions too. But emilZy hanging around. Going to keep the pressure going with a dash. Taken at level 1. HalfDevil going to sneakily go in the jungle to find out what's going on. Take some minions with him too.
Look where maniaKK is this whole entire time. Helping the red buff secure for emilitoo. Will actually secure. And maniaKK picks it up to teleport right away. I don't think that... I'm not sure if that was necessarily the case, or if WhoDaBest couldn't make it in time, and emilitoo didn't want it for himself. Red buff versus Chulainn versus no buff Ducky. Interesting.
Janky start coming out here, but emilZy's under a lot of pressure after that dash. Funballer just whacking away. But the shell comes up pretty big there for for NRG, and actually forces Funballer to sense. HalfDevil's chosen the wrong path in, I feel.
They almost body blocked the Sylvanus right under the wall. The slow is good. emilitoo needs to hit one more shot. No, not going to really go for it even further. Funballer right around the corner, so it's going to be a wash. Purple buff goes the way of HalfDevil.
So may not get the red buff. I mean, he doesn't need the blue at the start of the game.
That's true.
Totally. And he's against a Chang'e that he's looking to try and pressure before she gets some levels online. It's not the worst call in the world, this. I kind of like the idea.
It's definitely a good idea, but if you're going to give up the blue buff in return, maybe have someone else pick it up. WhoDaBest could have potentially looked for that rotation to get some MP5 for himself in the lane.
And the Medusa in the mid lane here. Not seen too much of it so far this split, but at the same time, relatively good wave clear, good CC immune ultimate that can turn the tail of a fight too. Alongside a Cabrakan. There's plenty of burst damage from that SK lineup if they can find one of those squishy mages in the mid lane.
Plenty physical power to go for some scaling. That's the whole idea behind the Transcendence Rush, trying to get that petrify damage off, the acid spit, being able to make an impact. And Cabrakan and Medusa combined together is going to really dominate some of these tight corridor jungle skirmishes where everybody's going to be clumped up. That petrify is going to be actually more beneficial once the tectonic shift comes through. Faeles going to clump them all up and allow Lawbster all the dominance in the world.
Well, with how the dual lane's gone so far, NRG have come out on top, stealing away the purple buff from SK in their own jungle, thanks to the wave pressure they got. So Funballer and HalfDevil to be a little bit careful now in this lane, as the level advantage is really important because you can get a little bit longer on those CCs available or just more abilities in general.
Even with Sylvanus Ram having the best lane clear potential, levels do indeed matter. emilitoo and emilZy recognizing this, trying to really min-max that point by going back to the red buff on the respawn, and that's why they ignored the wave at level 1. They wanted to, no part of that. There's no potential way that they can out-secure, or rather out-push a Sylvanus Ram, so they do the best smart thing in terms of min-maxing their farm with the buffs.
Blink available Faeles here on this Cabrakan too, as he's going to secure these right and Harpies just in time before adapting does show up. Surprised we don't see some pressure maybe onto WhoDaBest in the mid lane. Is that where you should be focusing in this game, totally?
I would agree that WhoDaBest, without any sort of escape between like a Scylla Sentinel or a Hades dash, that he's going to be the target. But Faeles needs to hit level 5 to get that wall available and make his blink more valuable.
And the biggest key there is trying to abuse the player that's new on the team. Substituting in for Yamin this week is WhoDaBest, and that's where I'd look to. You want to go for the sub, you go for the weakest member if you can find it. It's kind of staring you in the face.
WhoDaBest recognizes, though, that his biggest weakness is that potential play, so he goes for the Aegis at level 1 as opposed to the beads. Very important for him to time that correctly, though, because one stun from the Cabrakan can set up a lot more follow-up damage from Lawbster.
Oh, sneaky, sneaky Hebo. But the ward down from HalfDevil, melt that out nicely in time before Adapting could rotate in and look for a bit of a pressure onto this Chulainn. And speaking a bit more about the right mid, totally going back to it, he's also going to have this Athena to his help as well as this game continues.
That's true. Sitting at level 4, though, not going to have the Defender of Olympus quite yet. So if you're looking for the play to happen, it should be now with Faeles hitting that level 5 marker. He has the speed buff and the mobility to make it happen, but he's min-maxing his farm to go for the back heartbeats instead.
Ducky doing pretty good work over on the solo lane. maniaKK transforms. Waxing Moon is available and will be used in his base. Driving Strike came through there from maniaKK. It's not really Driving Strike, but it's pretty much the same ability anyway. But maniaKK still okay. No rotation from either jungler to this right-hand side. Ducky weathering the storm.
Ducky could have been a little more patient with the Waxing Moon, waiting for maniaKK to de-transform back into the regular form, so that way the shield from the transformation wouldn't have been an impact. But I like the fact that he was baiting maniaKK long enough to finally use that meditation.
I'm both healthy enough on that right-hand side now. Talking about that, yeah, meditation for Ducky, teleport for maniaKK. We saw that used at the beginning of the game. We'll see how this teleport continues on for maniaKK on these rotations. And if he can beat Chang'e to the fight, which is one way of looking at it. HalfDevil only level 4 here. Got to be a little bit careful about stepping up to the dual lane of energy now, who have hit level 5 a little bit earlier on.
They could definitely look for a double ultimate play onto HalfDevil if they want. emilitoo could just straight up cavalry charge, catching Funballer during the dash, and there comes the damage.
Beautiful follow-up from emilitoo with that mounted archery too. Meanwhile, maniaKK just fall in the mid lane, but one more auto should do it. And emilitoo will thread that needle into the back of Funballer's head, making it 1-for-1. But SK Gaming, they get first blood in the mid lane.
That's important for Faeles. Yes, it was important for Faeles to get that gold bounty to kind of escalate his build a little further. He's going to go for the Stone of Binding, trying to get more penetration for his teammates, trying to get that burst damage lockdown, but shutting down Funballer is a great way for NRG to get momentum.
Ducky just a little bit too early on that escape. He tried to immune some of the damage, but he timed it wrong. Adapting follows up with a knock-up ultimate, and emilZy's dunk does enough to pick up the kill.
It's always a game of chicken when it's Habwa versus Chang'e. You got to time that Moonlight Dance just to prevent the initial knock-up, and if you don't, well, now you're going to be a sitting duck, and then you add a Defender of Olympus into the equation, and that's going to be one dead Chang'e.
Faeles versus WhoDaBest in the jungle for a second, but WhoDaBest going to play it safe. Faeles a little bit too far forward here, so he's going to get taunted by emilZy. emilZy taking the brunt of the damage. Good ultimate out from Lawbster, better shell from emilZy. WhoDaBest trap, but round the back comes Habwa.
Oh no, Adapting is here. Lawbster, though, does take out emilZy. Faeles taking out another. It is going to be a 2-for-1. Favoring out SK.
Yeah, good work from SK Gaming there. Just managing to survive long enough. Adapting couldn't get there in time. He went for the beads at the start of the game, did the Habwa, and if he had Blink, I think he may have got there a little bit quicker.
It's safer to go for some sort of defensive relic as a Habwa. You have enough mobility with the speed buffs and your carpet to at least outrun the opposition, so as long as you prevent yourself from getting stunned or anything like knocked up even from HalfDevil, you're going to have a lot of return damage.
Definitely a burst situation playing the Habwa now, because Adapting's going for that Bancroft's Talon. So if he stays in the fight for a few seconds, he's going to resustain while dealing a ton of damage. So it's burst versus burst when you take on this Habwa this time.
And even if he doesn't find the heals off of the enemy gods, he can just go back to some neutral camps to get some of that sustain back for himself. And that's going to be a thing to look out for as the game progresses, when the Bancrofts is completed and more magical power starts stacking up for the Habwa.
3 members on the right-hand side right now going on, and we'll find out what's exactly happening. Excuse me. That was an alarm. That was my alarm going off. I don't know why it was set for this time in the afternoon, but it's wake-up alarm time for emilZy, as he's going to get the taunt after it sets up WhoDaBest, but just slightly off the mark there. Lawbster walks in towards the taunt, and it jukes him out of the ult from WhoDaBest.
Getting a little bit of a presence in the mid lane as WhoDaBest not able to really find it, but I like the fact that he's still confidently going for it with a little bit of cooldown reduction from the Mage's Blessing, now going for a Chronos Pendant. This is going to be important for the rest of NRG to keep in line with WhoDaBest's long-range abilities.
Maniac rotating around to mid lane, though. Going to pressure out SK once more for the timing. He's already level 10. Great pull from HalfDevil, though. Get punished for rotating in to say hello. And he found out the result. emilitoo, meanwhile, on the left. A little bit too greedy. May pay with his life. He's going to get some protection from emilZy. He's one hit, and the rotations are coming from SK.
Defender of Olympus was good enough to buy him some time, but not enough to save the mid-mage's life. emilitoo survives, but not the Ra.
Oh, and now emilZy's trying to find a way out of trouble here. He doesn't have an ultimate to really escape. Faeles can give chase for a while here. No speed buff around his waist, though, but Lawbster going to keep putting the poke pressure on. emilZy trying to hide in the camp, but it sets up the acid spray off those minions and puts Lawbster onto a killing spree.
A very clean pick. Lawbster recognizing that the red buff was an easy, just trickle-down effect. Use your ability on the red buff. It's going to travel towards emilZy. Gets it off cleanly. Now SK feeling confident to go for a 9-minute goal.
And it's a good call here. maniaKK is here, though, has his ultimate available. Going to be a little bit careful about health pulls here. Faeles still aggroing the Gold Fury. SK get it. maniaKK whittled down. Faeles very low, adapted on the way. HalfDevil going to cut him off and pay with his life to make sure Faeles can escape.
Even though adapting found the kill onto HalfDevil, maniaKK didn't need to salmon leap inside the Gold Fury circle to get the aggro. He should have did a very small jump underneath, trying to steal it, or maybe you look for the ultimate outside, because once he salmon leaped inside, the rest of SK Gaming were on the outside of the Gold Fury. They wanted to reset it anyway. There was some sort of steal potential for NRG, but with SK getting it, they're still keeping this game relatively in their favor.
Yeah, we've had that, the whole little play that we saw was from maniaKK coming to mid lane totally. When he came to the mid lane, he got pulled through the wall. SK find a kill and then go on a bit of a rampage of picking up a couple more members of NRG to develop that Gold Fury. It worked out very well, and it was technically NRG's fault.
It definitely was. I like the fact that he is making his presence felt, though. Sitting with the Pestilence, he's really trying to shut down Ducky's sustain, even a little bit of HalfDevil, and that's going to be very fruitful for the rest of NRG with the presence of maniaKK for not just his items, but his potential CC. However, a little bit mistimed was his ultimate, and the positioning that Salmon Sleep remains to be questionable.
Lawbster's doing a very good job, though. This game, he's got top player damage at level 12. He's the first one to get his second relic available for him, alongside adapting on the other team, who now has the blink, and he's waiting for that pick. Cast a curse. I mentioned how well Lawbster was doing, and he couldn't do anything about that. WhoDaBest will escape from Faeles, and now Faeles has adapted, whittling his health bar down.
SK knew that play was happening the whole entire time. Faeles was waiting on the back right Harpies for something to pop off. Lawbster couldn't time his Petrify in time to avoid the CC.
Can't avoid the knock-up onto Faeles. Faeles knocked in the air again, but still alive. emilitoo on the horse gets it, but he's only one hit from death. The Waxing Moon will clean that up. At the same time, we saw Funballer aiming those Rama strikes. Still fighting between the Tier 1 and Tier 2 tower or NRG as they go 3 for 1 in the engagement.
Very clean disengage on top, being able to strip away some important buffs. Speed buff gets taken away, as does the back camps. Blue buff not available quite yet, is due to respawn momentarily, but they catch out Ducky. Ducky sees it from a distance, just backs off.
Yeah, and Ducky's going to be careful here because this Tier 1 tower on the right-hand side is due to fall relatively soon. Going to have to be careful because Ducky can't rely on that tower to help him out too long if NRG chose to go aggressive, but instead, NRG happy with the small victories they found recently and head back to base.
And as the game progresses, adapting is only going to get scarier. He's sitting 4-0-2, 3 levels ahead of his opposition, forcing Faeles to try to deal with this in some manner. So he goes for the Void Stone to get the health, get the magical protections, get some magical penetration, assisting himself, Ducky, and HalfDevil. All around a great utility item for team fights out of SK.
He's falling further behind for SK overall, though, Telly. 3 level difference in the jungle, 3 level difference in the support role. It's going to cause them a couple more problems as this goes on, specifically when you look at those 2 characters SK have that are behind. They're the front line, both of them, Sylvanus and Cabrakan. They're going to be so far behind, they're not going to live too long.
Sometimes you got to worry about that because the base health per level matters. Faeles being 4 levels behind means he doesn't get about 400 health, as opposed to adapting that has so much extra damage, so much extra health to look for plays like that.
Well, Ducky with the Waxing Moon there to put some pressure onto adapting, but it's a good pick in the mid lane on WhoDaBest. Combination coming out from Rama. Faeles there with that blink that managed to find a pick on WhoDaBest.
And the Aegis was down still, unfortunately, for WhoDaBest. SK recognizing this, collapsing on their prey for a quick pick not going to go for the tier 1 mid tower despite that early pressure on the right side. And that's something that SK is lacking a little bit. If you find a pick in mid and you lose something on the right side, well, now you control middle, make something off of it.
And generally that's what we find from NRG though, is once they get one tower, they all start to clump up a lot quicker then.
Yes.
maniaKK will be making these rotations even more so. But at the moment, Ducky still under pressure. There's a lot of pestilence online for maniaKK now, so he's not too worried about the poke pressure from Chang'e.
I like the fact that maniaKK is still aggressing as he's timing his ultimate not to only hit Ducky, but to hit Ducky and the entire wave on top of it. If you're going to de-transform in about 5-10 seconds, you might as well get that ultimate off because you're not going to see it for a hot minute.
HalfDevil looking for a pull in the mid lane there, and the rotation from emilZy won't find it as it's not thrown out. emilZy chose a different route. Gold Fury is due to spawn in 20 seconds time. SK Gaming got the last one. It wasn't clean, but it still went their way. They were the one that started it and did a good job of that. This second one, very important here, Tolly, for SK to maybe take control of this game.
This time it's Funballer playing the Rama, but he has a 2-level deficit over emilitoo that has a better power spike play with this Executioner and fully stacked up Devil Gloves, but still patient enough to not force anything in the dual lane, despite also having an Athena global ultimate, would rather get the purple buff. NRG just playing very methodically with their lead.
Yeah, I don't think Funballer would take a trade, though, at that point. I guess an Execution and fully stacked Devos, and you've only got half-stacked Devos, is pretty risky.
Well, the thing is, emilitoo, if you really wanted to, he could play so far up that he zones Funballer away from his own lane and try to build the difference even further around and maybe force some SK Gaming members to rotate, and then NRG can steal away the Pyromancer. There's a lot of pushes and pulls that NRG can do with this lead from emilitoo.
The main thing is SK just need their tanks to get a little bit more farm, and I think that's why they're just going to sit back and not try and get caught in awkward positions. Just allow them to get tankier, get a couple more items online so they can frontline. We also see that Soul Eater out of Lawbster. We've not seen too much of it just lately, but it's been having continuous buffs.
Getting a little bit of extra physical power is not a bad idea, and to pick it up rather, and getting that physical lifesteal off of your abilities when you're amplifying it with Transcendence anyway. Lawbster is going to be able to survive some of the initial poke, but the thing is, normally, as a Medusa player, you're not generally getting poked that hard against this composition from NRG unless it's maniaKK sticking to you.
HalfDevil going to get taunted, knocked up, snipe off the mark from WhoDaBest, but wasn't really needed. The ultimate out of Lawbster did some pretty good damage, but it's not enough to find a kill against NRG. Now it's a 4v5, and with maniaKK rotating over here, Gold Fury's looking tempting for NRG.
HalfDevil needs to be on a very thin and short leash to pull him back. He was too far away from his teammates to help him out. Faeles was not in position to really blink in and help him out. Neither was Funballer. It was only Lawbster, unfortunately.
And Gold Fury will go to NRG, then extending their lead to 3,500 gold at this point. And you're completely right there, Tully. One thing that NRG had more of around that Gold Fury as well was ward coverage. So going in blind was HalfDevil there. Gets hit by the taunt. Team's not close enough to help out. Gold Fury ends up falling. You
got to ask yourself several questions as you're traveling the mini-map. If you don't have vision of the opposition, you got to be like, all right, I only see maniaKK on the mini-map. That means 4 unaccounted members. They could be at goal. They could be setting up a trap. Let's make sure that while I'm traveling, that at the very least, somebody's within 2 to 3 seconds of helping me out if I get in trouble.
Do love the call from maniaKK to go for that mid-guardian mail this game too, Tolly. Against, obviously, double Hunters this game, Funball and Lawbster. It's going to cause a lot of problems for those 2 Hunters to stay in range and get that damage off.
Normally, there's several attack speed debuff options between Guardian Mail, Witchblade, Horrific Emblem comes to mind, but not a very recent popular relic because you're always looking for better ways to engage. Blink is a great tool for maniaKK to really get a multi-purpose knock-up off, so I don't mind that idea. And with how much health you get from Guardian Mail, that's why that item specifically is more popular than the Witchblade.
Yeah, Horrific Emblem, solid item, but the problem is, sorry, relic I should say, the problem is that Sprint kind of nullifies some of what that will bring.
At least the slow part of it. It's not going to stop the attack speed reduction part of it, but at least you're going to be able to, you're not going to be able to chase someone down with Horrific.
Well, solo lane is fighting, but WhoDaBest trapped inside the ring. HalfDevil's there with a knock-up too, but adapting removes Lawbster from the map. Faeles and HalfDevil use their abilities, and now they're on the run. They don't have the damage themselves to bring anyone down. Good pull on adapting. They really would have liked WhoDaBest there, but the sustain is just causing problems.
Faeles is in trouble. One more water cannon will do it. Adapting, taking out Faeles. Meanwhile, maniaKK on a wild goose chase on top of
Wow.
Ducky.
Fights everywhere.
Funballer trying to do something here against emilitoo and emilZy.
Yeah, Funballer's just in a awkward situation. No relics available now. He's looking for the kill on emilZy, but to the tower if he can get help. Funballer taking on emilitoo too. The minions come up big. Funballer 2v1s as he gets dove under the tower. And as he got a little bit too greedy, and, well, Funballer shows him he's still got it.
Unless emilitoo was playing the Ram, he had no business under that tier 1 tower. That hitbox of the tower is very thick, not to mention the 6 minions that just entered the tower. emilZy did everything in his power to tank that tower for as long as possible. In fact, he could have left that tower earlier to allow emilitoo to take those tower shots. Even though he was in the red, emilZy was like, all right, I still have 2 more tower shots in me. Absorb those 2 tower shots. emilitoo got way too ahead of himself.
Definitely one of those players where energy feels so confident that they can try and make the extravagant, grandioso plays. You know, would they have done that at the World Championship final? I don't know. It's a little bit risky. Should they have found the kill? I think so, but great work. All credit given to Funballer.
Outside of the lackadaisical nonsense on the left side, Adapting doing a great job in the mid lane.
Yeah.
When he blinked in, he instantly knocked up Lawbster. He had no time to react to the knockup. The beads and the Aegis was not used, and Lawbster needs to have these relics in the back of his mind. Once he hears that blink sound, he needs the beats.
There is a 5-level difference now between Adapting and Faeles in the jungle. And when you're playing a tanky Cabrakan, well, you're not tanky at that stage, that's for sure, against someone with the amount of pressure and damage that Adapting has. He's got even more pen here too, Tully, stacking double pen.
He's going for physical defense. I think he's trying to go for Breastplate of Valor for the cooldown reductions, but level 19 Habwa needs some magical defense.
Ultimate
Oh,
from
the bait,
HalfDevil
the
got
mind
baited.
games.
Round the corner, though, Lawbster did a good job with the ultimate, but returns a lot of damage back. The snipes in the sky will be found from Funballer as finally Adapting is shut down. Lawbster taking on emilitoo, but emilitoo wins the trade. Lawbster in the end, though, does get kill credit in response, so a 1-for-1 in the jungle, and still, Lawbster the only one to fall for SK.
But Adapting fell earlier, so that's going to be a great opportunity for SK Gaming to use that 40 seconds to get some towers, get some gold right back under themselves to tie this game up.
Yeah, tier 1 does fall, and the pressure from SK still going on. HalfDevil going to look for the root, finds it. The pull, not going to be found there as emilZy held the dash perfectly. The tanking of the tier 2 has to begin. No minions, so this is going to hurt them a little bit here without the minions to bring down that tower. And SK realize they're going to have to look for an opportunity elsewhere.
Sustain versus sustain. Chang'e versus
Got him.
Raw. Funballer forced to use the beads. HalfDevil off the mark with the pull. NRG, despite being 3-on-4, they're not willing to give this up for free. They're going to defend the Pyromancer.
If I was NRG right now, I'd be looking towards Gold Fury, which is up in a few seconds' time. But they're going to contest this Pyromancer. WhoDaBest has his ultimate available. This rock could come through big for him. Faeles trying to zone him away and doing a good job of it for now.
Trying to stop him in his tracks.
He still
but
got it.
NRG
He still got
stole it with a Searing Pain. Ducky not able to connect with the Wax-a-Moon. maniaKK jumping right over that one in a clean disengage on top.
Disappointing from SK Gaming there. They knew what they had to do was keep the Raw away and still couldn't do it. Faeles did all he could. He got the stun off and zoned him away nicely, but WhoDaBest came up like Yamin.
The timing was perfect, honestly. And
Is it Yamin? Maybe it's Yamin in disguise.
nah, it's not Yamin in disguise. WhoDaBest getting a little bit of revenge over his former team in the previous split, saying, maybe you shouldn't have let me go. But anyway, outside of that, the objective control not in SK Gaming's favor. Out of that Pyromancer, they needed to find a way to lock down the Raw. And speaking of Raw, it's a very popular pick during the spring split, and with the summer LAN right around the corner, with Rival and NRG coming to the LAN, Raw could be another one of these LAN resurgence gods.
He's always going to be a safe god to pick, Tully.
Yes.
I take a little bit of a nerf towards the Searing Pain ultimate, a few seconds
Sure.
added to that. It's not the be-all and end-all,
Yeah,
though. I still think he's going to be used at the
I still agree that it's going to be one of the top picks, honestly, in terms of mid-lane control. It's so safe with the range. The cooldowns are still going to be significant if you go for Chronos Pendant, if you go for the Shoes of Focus and whatnot, or even Soul Gem potentially. And that's going to... The heal on top, like, it has so many different utility options between peeling for yourself with a blinding light. maniaKK, though, a 3-on-1.
Yeah, under a lot of pressure. Has to ult early on. Good ult in response from Lawbster to try and keep the pressure going. Now the protections are down, though, and in goes the whole team, but adapting on the back, looking towards Lawbster.
Oh.
And he'll find Lawbster. He was left alone.
No relics available. Searing Pain comes through. emilitoo cleaning up HalfDevil. maniaK's going to get traded out 2 for 1. NRG still on the chase.
And emilitoo is going to run down Funballer with those slows, trying to keep the pressure on with the whole team around him. WhoDaBest takes out Funballer, is adapting still, looking at picking up Ducky. Won't find it, though, but 4 members of NRG can look for a tier 2.
Adapting fears no man as he goes into the tier 2 tower. Despite having Void Stone and despite having that Stone of Binding, he's not concerned about the return damage from Faeles. He's just going to get the tier 2 casually. Now NRG with a 2-player advantage goes for the Fire Giant.
Yeah, Fire Giant now will fall. Nobody around from SK to really contest this. Ducky is alive, but I don't even think even if he has teleport, he could get back to that in time. So now it's time for NRG to take down a couple more towers. Tier 1 in mid and left-hand side, very, very low on health already. And then the tier 2s, plenty of gold available then for NRG to take it.
Oh, absolutely. 4,000 gold left on the table. They got 500 out of it still. Between those 3 remaining towers, 3,500 gold is waiting for NRG. They're already up about 9,000. So it's going to be quite a pretty penny once they get all 3 remaining towers.
Still, the level difference does matter for the time being, although because the level 20s from NRG are starting to be dinged now, there's no further experience gap that can be created by those, just a catching up chance for SK at 24 minutes in. If they can weather this Fire Giant and keep their Phoenixes up totally, it's not going to be as bad. I mean, the gold's one thing, but the experience, not so much.
It's not as easy, though, to really handle the pressure from NRG because of the knock-ups from adapting, the dash taunts from emilZy. The mind games from emilZy was so crucial towards baiting out HalfDevil's Wrath of Terror that one time, and that's the way you normally deal with the Athena. She dashes in, you blow her up. But he just backpedaled, though, against the ultimate.
With adapting now on this Hebo and the build that he's gone for here, Tully, it's all penetration. Do you even bother going magical resistance? Do you just go for health, I guess, in this case?
That wouldn't be a bad idea if you wanted to go for that route, or even find another way to shut him down. Could be just group up on him, honestly, because every time adapting is successful is when he blinks in.
Agreed.
And he's blinking in through safe avenues on his own sentry wards, on positions that's not warded out from SK Gaming. If adapting gets off one knockup, they just win this fight.
And the only time we saw adapting get picked this game was that ultimate out from Funballer towards the end of the fight, where he found those snipes that were so key to shutting him down. 5-on-5 on the left-hand side then. NRG not looking at the tier 2 in mid just yet. If they feel confident enough to be able to take a fight at this left-hand Phoenix, keep an eye on emilZy. He'll be the one dashing in with those taunts and adapting to follow up.
They're waiting for adapting's beats to come up in 5 seconds. emilZy charging up his dash and looking for the prime target. Probably going to go onto HalfDevil yet again, if I were to guess. Doesn't want his team to get hit by the Wrath of Terror.
Taunt on 2 and beads used by Lawbster on the petrifying toe. emilZy still tanking this up, gets pulled back in. But the speed up will help him out. Still trapped inside thanks to the Cabrakan ult. Faeles getting relatively low as his maniaKK, and Funballer actually takes out maniaKK with that snipe.
It was actually emilZy taking a lot of damage, but maniaKK goes down instead, and with a 4-on-5, NRG still feeling confident to go in. The rest of SK Gaming backing up a little bit. Finally, NRG on the retreat, using the raw sustain to back themselves up. maniaKK goes in, but he couldn't come back out.
Seems like NRG are kind of giving up the goose of this left-hand Phoenix now. Adapting the only one that didn't use his ultimate in that team fight, so still has that available. And I'm pretty sure SK Gaming just playing far enough back. Instead, NRG have to turn tail and head towards the Gold Fury. Up in 7 seconds time, so can just pick this up on the way back to base to complete their 6th and final item.
And NRG were just going for some sort of beads burners. That great dash taunt from emilZy got Lawbster's beads up, and adapting wanted to blink, knock him up, but he just couldn't find the right timing. And with maniaKK dead, the rest of the push was basically negated. There's still a little bit of a timing for NRG to continue their push, not with the Fire Giant buff, but with the knowledge that there's no more beads for Lawbster for at least 2 minutes.
Yeah, outside of adapting this game, most of NRG not great on the player damage. A couple of players just approaching 12k, or 13 I should say, is maniaKK creeping up there. But SK have put some good damage in this game, Tolly. The Medusa, the Chang'e, the Cabrakan, they've been doing work, but they're still behind.
It's very true. Even with the Executioner penetration, even with the Brawler's Beatstick, all that physical defense out of Maniac is just really not enough to handle. More Guardian Mail, Emperor's Armor, and this Height of Nemean Lion. He's just melting like butter. And it's funny because it was EmilZy that was getting hit by a lot of the damage to begin with, but all those abilities were also AoE abilities, and Maniac was right beside him. I would like to see next time for Maniac to just kind of wait a little bit before re-engaging.
emilitoo on the right-hand side. Just going to place a deep ward around where the tier 2 tower would be. They're waiting for the Fire Giant to respawn quite clearly. Meanwhile, SK on the left-hand side just trying to pressure out some minions, pick up a little bit of farm. Do you contest the Fire Giant here, Tony?
No. 13,000 gold behind. Your only hope realistically is to defend with a 6th person, and that 6th person being your own Phoenixes.
Phoenixes,
Yeah, Phoenixes. You don't even defend the tier 2 tower at this point.
Really?
Because you're going to have to run away so far behind that energy is going to chase you down with Adapting's Carpet, and you're going to be even further away from your fountain to regain health.
HalfDevil really trying to boost the extra protection, well, extra damage, I should say, from these towers and Phoenixes in this game now. Just trying to find that extra mana that they're going to need, as you were saying, Toli. The Phoenix will be even better than usual, but this Fire Giant is a counter to that to an extent, with it giving extra damage and extra regeneration.
Trying to go for something on the left-hand side. emilZy and WhoDaBest got caught out.
Greedy from NRG, trying to do two things at once, trying to sneak away that red buff. As they got the fire at the same time, SK Gaming will say no, no, no to that. So now it's 50 seconds without WhoDaBest that's going to be wasted on this Fire Giant here, Tom.
That's true. And Ra is a key component towards some of these sieges. He just has so much range. He has a sustain. Being able to follow up from some of the CC out of emilZy and Maniac gone now. But even without him having Fire Giant, NRG should still be able to group up, get this remaining tier 2 tower, maybe look for some more picks, as long as that Maniac just kind of staggers in his engage after emilZy.
Longer this game goes, though, we keep mentioning it, the longer experience doesn't matter, which you can see now. The only difference is HalfDevil's only 16 to the level 20 out of emilZy. Gold, though, definitely still matters. Those items a little bit further along for energy here with that 14k extra. Split that 5 ways. Well, that's why everyone's pretty much full build and now starting to buy potions.
It's going to be an important advantage them. Even that extra 20 physical power, the extra 40 magical power or so, that's the necessary evil that you need to topple over them in the late game scenarios. As we're approaching the 30-minute mark, this lead from NRG, they got it, but they just haven't been able to really close the door on SK.
Kind of been dancing around a little bit more so, right? Small little mistakes here, bit of misplays there. WhoDaBest game picking the last one, just delayed it for a few seconds now, but Fire Giant still around the waist for a good 2 minutes here. Let's see what they can do. They will get the tier 2 in the mid lane. Not going to be contested by SK Gaming now. And then I guess it's kind of pick your poison. Which Phoenix do you want to start out first?
Whichever one has the minions closest to the Phoenix, and that's going to be in the mid lane. Unless they're going to back on off and go for the most important Phoenix. Not just going to wait for the red buff to respawn. With WhoDaBest dying on the red buff, at least they know the timer of it.
That's true.
That's what they died for.
That's true. That's why he died. That's the main reason for it. Gold used to spawn again in a minute's time too, but I don't really think NRG need the gold other than to deny it from SK Gaming. SK, though, going to try and ward the jungle up a little bit, get a bit of vision on the avenues through here. As NRG now swing to this left-hand side and look for the Phoenix. SK grouping up the speed. Who's going to take it?
I'm curious, actually. Because Faeles already stole...
Lawbster, by the way.
Oh, no, Faeles still has his own speed. Lawbster needs to find a way to run away from any sort of blink shenanigan plays coming from Adapting.
Dash in from emilZy to aggro this early on. No one actually available for SK just yet, so he has to dip back out.
Good jump. That jump was necessary. Yeah. Maniac was going to be in a lot of trouble if he got pulled.
emilZy going to walk back in and aggro it. Torn onto HalfDevil as he's knocked up and bursted. And the snipe from WhoDaBest will secure the kill. 4 on 5. And Lawbster's Petrifying was actually used in that engagement too.
What a clean pick.
Yeah.
HalfDevil just had no chance of survival. He even had the Spirit's Robe giving himself some damage mitigation. He needs to be able to use that Wrath of Terror to negate all that form of CC so that he could walk away from all the follow-up damage, but it just didn't have the presence of mind. He didn't even have the shell or the sprint ready before he got CC'd.
NRG feeling confident. They've got no minions here, but they're going to try and backdoor this Phoenix at the moment. Maniac on the left-hand side, going to blink in and look towards Lawbster and find him. Maniac still pressuring out Lawbster, as meanwhile emilitoo keeps whacking away on the Phoenix. emilZy can tank this for days by the looks of it, and Faeles could be forced out to his Titan too. Middle Phoenix falls, and NRG fall back.
Slowly stripping away one bird at a time, each and every feather getting plucked away from SK Gaming's clutches. NRG with Fire Giant still around their waist for 30 seconds, but not going to have a minion wave on the right side anytime soon.
NRG trying to bait around the corner here for the next speed buff spawn. It's going to be a minute or two.
It's a long time.
And there's a ward there just behind emilitoo, which I think he's just catching emilitoo on that right-hand side. So this little bait and trap from NRG is not going to work.
There's nothing for them to realistically do anyway. Fire Giant not coming up for a minute. The right side has no minions coming, so you might as well just look for some sort of ambush play. Look for the speed buff. SK definitely sniffed this out. They're not going anywhere near the right.
Yeah, you can see the wards NRG have down as well, just in the entrances. And
oh, no, they don't.
They did come round the corner. Goodbye, Lawbster. Goodbye, Ducky. That's
game.
What happens unless Ducky can get escape.
Oh, he avoids the one Celestial Beam, but also avoiding the searing pain, but not the shots from the enemy hunter.
That could be the game now. NRG just hit in the jungle for a moment or two, and SK eventually got impatient. They didn't know about it totally clearly. They only saw.
I'm not sure if they saw emilitoo with their vision, even though having a ward right behind him, that radius is a little bit tricky from spectator eyes.
Well, in come NRG to the Titan room once more. 5 minions in every single lane pouring in. NRG are going to land. We knew that before today, but they close it out in a superb way here. 17 to 14 in 33 minutes. SK, well, they don't survive the split with a win.
No, unfortunately not. And they need to really find their identity to head towards the fall split, because this kind of a performance of the summer is less than average, less than acceptable, honestly, even from an SPL level. To go even without one set victory, there needs to be some fire under them to light the candles and just to do their research to figure out what works for them and what doesn't.
Yeah, they've got a bit more work to do than in fall. Who do you guys think deserves MVP in that game? I think everyone's going to probably be streaming adapting with that hairball play.
He did such a remarkable job in the early game. The blink plays, shut down Lawbster so many times, caught him slipping. Lawbster didn't even have time to react to some of his purification beads Aegis combinations.
So, with that set done, it's very exciting to see how well NRG will do at the LAN. Not seen him for a little while, Tully. It's been since Worlds.
True.
It's been a hot
Since
minute.
Worlds. They missed out on the only other LAN that we had between Worlds and now, so they might have some tricks up their sleeves.
They may do. SK Gaming, though, back to the drawing board for them in the fall split. We'll find out how they do. And with that, we'll now see exactly what's going on next. So what do you want to see next then, Tully? I mean, when we look at NRG and what they're going to do at the LAN, what's the main things that need to happen here?
I think that they're just going to be playing their own game. I think that they will do a little bit of their homework against other teams. They very well could. They have the potential to. I wouldn't be surprised if they win it or if they don't, honestly. I have no expectations for NRG, as we haven't seen them in the previous LAN. But whenever they do come to LAN in the previous, like outside of Worlds, the most recent one, they've always dominated. So this could be an NRG winning LAN.
Enough for us. Let's get it over to the desk to break down that set.
That one went about as well as we kind of expected. SK Gaming unfortunately wind up with a big old goose egg for the entire split.
Was a better start, though, than how things happened in game number 1. I actually liked what SK was doing. They were applying some of the necessary pressure they needed to get a bit of a lead going, but ultimately that lead was mostly just in kills. It didn't really translate over into the actual golden experience departments. NRG did a great job making sure that they stayed even in those departments, and as a result, once the team fights came into play, NRG just had a little bit of a better composition for those.
Adapting in the jungle. Game number 1 was on the Mercury. Game number 2 on the Habois. He-Bo. Either way you pronounce it, he's going ha-ha. Winning, laughing his way to the bank. Jungler, 10.5 KDA. Even better than game number 1. The He-Bo just continues to crush. Adapting just continues to crush everybody's dreams.
I also can appreciate NRG's patience at the very end there. I think about the last 4.5 minutes, they sat grouped up, hovering around the jungle territory for SK's speed buff area, trying to see if they could find picks, and then finally, just when you thought that they were going to be missing out on that, they managed to pick up a couple of those right there towards the end, and that also felt like it kind of summed up a bit how this set went overall.
Yeah, I think it really did. And when you look at what SK has been able to do, which is not much, unfortunately, I think a lot of the fans at home kind of expected this one.
It's hard taking on David versus Goliath, but this time it wasn't going to be in David's favor.
Yeah, not going to be the case here. So NRG toppling over SK 2-0, adapting, taking the MVP. This one all cut and dry. NRG still on top, still coming to LAN. Very exciting. Of course, that's just a summer split. We're going to have the summer LAN in a little bit, and we're going to crown a victor rival taking it last time around in the springtime.
And a rival also took it in a fairly commanding fashion towards the end. I mean, that went all 7 matches, by the way. We did a best of 7 for the finals there up against Team Dignitas. And
yeah.
They went all the way with that, so I can only imagine what's going to happen here in the Summerland, considering that everybody, for what it's worth, has definitely improved.
Yeah, apologies to the SK fans out there. No control over who takes this one home, but something you can control is the Odyssey vote. You guys know that the correct vote here is for Ganesh.
Aries.
So, Ganesh.
Aries.
Whoa, who said that?
Well, who said Aries?
Ganesh.
I did. I said Aries like
Ganesh.
a billion times now.
Ganesh.
Because Aries is the only answer here.
But I think real Ganesh is here.
But it's literally carry Aries. Like, you can't say that with Ganesh. Carry Ganesh. What rhymes with Ganesh? Absolutely nothing. Aries is a superior vote.
I mean, I have a friend named Dinesh. He's a nice guy. That rhymes with Ganesh.
You just made that person up.
No, I didn't.
Show me. What's their at?
WhoDaBest plays Ganesh. HRX tickets also on sale. You can make fun of Taco liking Aries there, November 16th through the 18th. Get your tickets at hi-rezexpo.com. Smite and Paladins, PC and console, HR and X. Definitely want to be there.
And you want to make sure that you show up to DreamHack. That way, when Aries ultimately wins out on the vote and gets a T5 skin, you can rub it in F.Dot's face alongside with me.
No, it's going to be Ganesh. It is going to be Ganesh. It better be Ganesh. Coming up next, we've got Obey taking on Mouse. We've got a North American match as well. That's going to be CLG LG. That one, of course, coming over from the holidays. So, vote Ganesh. We'll be right back.